Today we like to discuss about SAP for oxygen cylinder manufacturing, right? So oxygen cylinder demand is very critical in hospitals, especially for corona patients and then actually for asthma patients. And also it is for entertainment also, say for scuba diving and also for in ambulance, right? Actually for giving first aid to while before taking to hospital, right? In ambulance it is much required. So oxygen cylinder demand is always there. So we need to have a proper manufacturing plan and execution. So SAP will help us in streamlining the process of manufacturing, right? So oxygen cylinders are used for various purposes. That's what I said, and it requires immense precision to manufacture, right? Oxygen cylinder manufacturing industries needs to be extremely careful for manufacturing process of oxygen cylinders. There are several intricate operations and process with which the industry has to follow to keep the quality of cylinders top notch. So every industry, including oxygen cylinder manufacturing industry, is shifting to the digital paradigm to ease up with the operations and process. So SAP software is a perfect digital solution for the digital need in an industry to function properly and make workflow smooth, right? So this is about the process or the process layout. So for manufacturing the oxygen cylinder, we have compressors, dryer, filter package, cool towers, air tank, PSA generators, and separators, filters. Lot many equipments are there, and finally, from the total gas, actually the oxygen is splitted using the some filtering process, and so actually we are getting the oxygen, and it is bottled up in the cylinders and sent for distribution. This is how the oxygen plant is working. So the compressor is creating the air, air and everything, and from where the dryer is heating that. So lot of internal process taking place, and finally we are getting the oxygen. So the shell, right? The shell of the oxygen cylinder is made of an aluminum or a brushed steel. So the single sheet of metal is cut to size by a saw on a conveyor belt. The metal sheet is then put through a metal press that rolls up into the cup shape. So the mouth of the cup is closed by the press, okay? And then second process is heating. So heating the cylinder for added strength is done through two steps. One is heating process and other is the process of artificial aging the cylinder. For the heating process, the metal is heated to 1000 degree Fahrenheit in a solution furnace. So all alloying metals are also put in the furnace and later cooled to make it more tension and rigid metal. So the metal is then subjected to second heating process. It is sent through an I can say in oven heated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So this process helps the alloys to firmly bind with the metal to make the cylinder more stronger. Whenever the delivery boy is just throwing the cylinder from the lorry or a truck, it won't get actually damaged, right? So the neck, right? The thread and the sealing surfaces are machined into the cylinder. The solid metal cylinder is placed on a milling machine, which which is a press that can move in three directions. A roll is milled the center of the cylinder by a machine. A form tool is used when then used to make threads and form the machines, and top of the cylinder, the shape of the neck, everything. So these operations can be treated, as a machine centers, they can be treated as a work centers in PP, right? This also for making a one cylinder or one complete oxygen cylinder, it has to go to different stages so-called work centers, and all these work centers can be created as a routing, right? So the collection of work centers is nothing but a routing. So these are managed by in PP. So we are calculating the time entry and out for in each work centers, and also we can able to calculate the machining hours start and duration about all these operations can be machining hours, right? So called. So we can easily calculate the hours in SAP when integrated with SAP, all this process in the digital era. So user can get a or a business can get a handy information of all the entire end-to-end process. So now finishing. So I can say the cylinder is placed under the hydrostatic testing where it is subject to the heavy pressure to check whether it can withstand the extreme pressure of all types. If it expands greater than the specified size within 30 seconds, the cylinder is rejected. So it is, and this is a quality management testing, right? So the condemned cylinder is again put under the saw and recycle. So it is again taken for the rework. So the cylinder is sent to a conveyor belt in the horizontal position under an automatic sander to make a surface of the cylinder smooth. So the cylinder is painted and then cap of wall attached according to the specialization or specifications to the requirement from the customer. And all this can be captured in the PP, right? And finally, filling oxygen. Air is compressed and sent through a compartment that has a piston. So the air expands in the compartment. When the air expands, the compartment increases its volume and pressure and temperature of air is lowered. So whenever increase of volume and pressure, there will be pressure, the temperature of the air is lowered, right? So it's a kind of Boyle's law. So air is lifted by this process. So the compartment is called expansion engine. So liquid air is then boiled to remove nitrogen. The simple process of boiling is effective because nitrogen has a lower boiling point that oxygen. So the liquid air that is now predominantly made up of oxygen is taken through a large insulated tank and put into the waiting oxygen cylinders. The cylinder is fitted with a pressure regulator to gauge the pressure in the tank. So it's for regulation, right? So what SAP software did for oxygen manufacturing? Okay, it's a really good question. So SAP software is a business performance software that streamlines all the operations and process involved in an industry for a manufacturing. These modern days web-based systems help in industry to monitor and control all the operations, comply with the statutory regulations, and increase transparency of entire end-to-end process to the manufacturer and their customers. So SAP software also automates various processes to avoid manual errors and delays. SAP has many features including business intelligence, automations, Internet of Things, IoT, artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning that gives it an edge over the traditional management of softwares. So SAP greatly relies on strategic core components, which are its process modules. SAP address department-wise functions properly and smoothly. SAP systems are responsible for forming an interconnected network of departments and divisions in the industry to a seamless exchange of information and data across the systems. So this data is stored on the central server so that only authorized people can access the business critical informations to retrieve that data, reports, everything or control it. So the process model also exchange information with other modules in a real time to enable collaboration of latest information to further the task in hand. Modules are also provide instant alert and notification to highlight the important data and KPIs. So now we have the question, how does the SAP software help oxygen cylinder manufacturing industry? So we have basic requirements of each modules, right? So the oxygen cylinder manufacturing industry goes through a intricate process, as already told, at various stages, which can be readily addressed by SAP software. And the enterprise resource planning is a software carefully and meticulously utilizes all the available resources in the industry and provides insights that help in better decision making. So SAP also controls and monitors all the operations for the oxygen manufacturing industry to get better control over operations. Okay. So SAP materials management and production planning helps in managing the raw materials for oxygen cylinder manufacturing through MRP. Therefore, material requirement planning process is involved here. So the main raw material used, to manufacture the oxygen cylinders or aluminum metal sheets for body and accessories. That is valves and rings, everything, right? So valves for control the pressure and to regulate the airflow, and rings we have. This materials is all sorted and labeled properly with automated process to avoid misplacement of raw material. The SAP MMIM also keeps the inventory in check for the raw material requirements and alerts in case of shortage and refill. So SAP PP also controls the production process on various stages of the production, starting from aluminum billets to shell production, so furthering to heat treatment and finishings and everything. So SAP QM have a strong quality control features which ensures that quality of oxygen cylinders remain top notch and in accordance to all the set standards and guidelines. The software confirms each cylinder is tested according to the procedures and checks the cylinder to eliminate the changes of leakage. All the safety norms are followed during the refilling process of oxygen. So the SAP also helps the oxygen cylinder manufacturers to have a detailed monitoring process to control the wear and condition of cylinders getting the required flow output from the final products. So distribution of cylinders is also managed by SAP with a complete order to dispatch process. So order to dispatch cycle in SAP SD to ensure timely deliveries of these critical components for medical and health applications. For tracking finance, accounts payable and accounts receivable, we have a FICO. For maintenance of activities of manufacturing unit, we have SAP PM. And normally, actually, we are not using SAP WM actually much in detail for the oxygen cylinder manufacturing. We have a stores that is enough for. Actually, it's not a big inventory, right? Actually, we can have a normal stores. And in cases actually, if they need actually the exact WM, that is also fine. Actually, if they have hundreds of, industrial gases or medicated gases or consumer gases, all this to be manufactured, they need to have a proper arrangement of materials, raw materials, semi-finished, finished, right? So all caps and valves, regulators, and then castings, everything to be stored in a proper place. But for storing the castings and aluminum sheet, not that much a warehouse is required. So just a storage location is enough for maintaining all the inventories. Thanks for visiting my videos and continuous support. This is GV Shivakkumar signing off.